Power is produced in the engine by the four-stroke process. As the piston moves on its first downward stroke, the intake valve opens to allow a mixture of air and fuel to fill the combustion chamber. This is called the intake stroke. Next, the intake valve closes, and the piston moves on an upward stroke that compresses the air-fuel mixture, will make it combust with greater force than if it were uncompressed. This is called the compression stroke. Third, the spark plug ignites the air-fuel mixture, causing it to burn explosively, which forces the piston into another downward stroke. This is called the power stroke. The fourth stroke is the exhaust stroke. As the piston begins its second upward stroke, the exhaust valve opens and the burned air-fuel mixture is forced out of the combustion chamber through the exhaust valves. Two terms you may be asked to explain to customers are the engine's compression ratio and displacement. Compression ratio is the ratio between the total volume of a combustion chamber and cylinder when the piston is at the bottom of its stroke and when the piston is at the top of its stroke. In this example, the compression ratio is 10:1. Higher compression ratios produce more power but require higher octane fuel than engines with lower compression ratios. Engine displacement is how the internal size of an engine is described. It's measured as the cylinder bore times the length of the piston stroke. This is multiplied by the total number of cylinders and is usually expressed in liters or cubic centimeters. For example, a 2.4-liter four-cylinder engine has a total displacement when adding together all four cylinders of 2.4 liters. The number of valves that engines have varies. Older engines tend to have one intake and one exhaust valve. Some engines have two intake and one exhaust valve. Most high-performance engines use two intake and two exhaust valves. The opening and closing of the valves is performed by the camshaft. Some engines use one camshaft with rocker arms and/or push rods actuating all of the valves. If the camshaft is above the valves, it's called a single overhead camshaft, or SOHC engine. When an engine uses a separate camshaft for the intake and exhaust valves mounted above the valves, this design is called double overhead camshafts, or DOHC. All Toyota engines use double overhead camshafts. Most four-cylinder engines, including all Toyota four-cylinder engines, are an inline design. Engines with more than 4 cylinders typically have the cylinders arranged in a V configuration. All Toyota 6 and 8-cylinder engines are V-type engines.